Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. In a recorded conversation with Fox Business host Maria Bartiromo, just 4 days before the Capitol riot, Senator Ted Cruz laid out a plan to steal the 2020 election. Stunning admissions caught on tape that, more stunningly, is being mostly overlooked in the news media. We will tell you more and what MSNBC received from a Fox producer. Also, a bipartisan group of senators have introduced a bill that would prohibit children under 13 from using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other social media sites. And after a near fatal drug overdose 7 years ago, former NBA star and fellow New Yorker Lamar Odom has transformed his life, and now he's making a significant business investment to do the same for others. We're going to discuss that. Also, for those who may not have been following this case, Pras from the Fugees, Pras Michel, is headed to federal prison after being convicted on a host of charges involving financial and political crimes. We're going to talk about Pras this morning as well. First, I gotta say, go New York, go New York, go. The Knicks going to round two. My New York Knicks are going to the second round, and they're going to start round two Sunday at the Garden, the Mecca. The Knicks defeated the Cavaliers in 5 games. They wiped the floor with Donovan Mitchell and his crew. My big guy, had a big game. Jalen Brunson, who the best signing, the best free agent signing probably in Knicks history, led the Knicks to a game 5 win. I was supposed to be in the Garden for game 6. We don't care. We don't care. They back. The Knicks are back. As Amari Stoudemire said prematurely about 6 years ago, the Knicks are back, baby. That's all that counts. Now let's get to some news this morning. Pras Michel, Fugees, y'all remember Killing Me Softly, all that with Lauryn Hill, and boy, oh boy, he's in trouble. He's been convicted in a federal court in Washington on 10 counts related to charges that include conspiracy, witness tampering, and failing to register as an agent of China. It was a case that spanned actions on 2 continents and multiple countries, a star-studded witness list, foreign intrigue, and both domestic and international influence peddling. At the center was Pras, who's now 50 years old, a member of the 90s group, the Fugees, who you all remember the album, The Score, one of the best-selling albums of all time, and certainly one of the top streaming albums of all time. He tried to reinvent himself, according to prosecutors, as a businessman and a humanitarian. He netted the attention of federal authorities when he waded into international and national politics. This one had President Obama, President Trump. Everybody was involved in this. Ultimately, Pras was convicted of conspiracy, concealment of material facts, making false entries in records, witness tampering, and serving as an unregistered agent of a foreign power. He now faces a maximum of 20 years in prison. A sentencing date has not yet been set, but he faced charges stemming from his relationship with a guy named Joe Low, a Malaysian billionaire accused of stealing $4 billion from a Malaysian sovereign wealth fund. Back in 2012, prosecutors said Pras used Low's illegal foreign money to buy seats for people at fundraisers for then President Barack Obama. And years later, after the FBI started investigating Low for stealing money, Low wanted Michelle and others to help him convince the Trump White House to go easy on Low. And one part of that alleged scheme was to try to get Trump to send a dissident living in the U.S. back to China to curry favor with the Chinese government. And you remember, Trump had this love, hate, I guess, relationship with China. And prosecutors said that Pras and Mr. Low schemed to exploit that love hate relationship that Trump had with the Chinese government. They say that Pras collected about $100 million from Low to try to influence 2 presidential administrations. Of course, Low is on the He's on the down low. He's on the go. He's believed to still be in China. So Pras stood trial alone. And in the days of testimony, the witnesses included former Attorney General Jeff Sessions, a top White House advisor to former President Trump, and actor Leo DiCaprio, whose movie, The Wolf of Wall Street, was funded by Lowe. DiCaprio arrived at court under heavy security and testified that Lowe told him he wanted to spend 20 to 30 million dollars to help reelect President Obama back in 2012. That testimony turned out to be pretty important since injecting foreign money into the campaign system was a key part of the case against Pras. Uh, Pras had Obama on his witness list. Obama was never called. So Pras Michel is now facing 20 years in federal prison. His attorney said that he certainly will appeal, that they believe that the government overreached, and that he simply was a businessman doing quite well helping others. So we will see what happens over the summer as the appeals process begins for Praz in that case. Also, this morning, a bipartisan group of senators on Wednesday introduced legislation that aims to protect children from any harmful effects posed by using social media. The Protecting Kids on Social Media Act would set a minimum age of 13 to use social media apps such as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and it would require parental consent for 13 to 17-year-olds. U.S. Surgeon, the U.S. Surgeon General said that 13 is too young to join social media. The bill would ban social media companies from recommending content using algorithms for users under the age of 18. It would also require the companies to employ age verification measures and instructs them to create a pilot project for a government provided age verification system that platforms can use. Under the measure, the Federal Trade Commission and state attorneys general would be given authority to enforce the bill's provisions. One of the bill sponsors, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, a Republican, said that big tech has exposed our kids to dangerous content and disturbed people. At a news conference, he goes on to say, moms and dads have felt helpless while their kids suffer, sometimes leading to devastating uh, tragedies. So they want to ban TikTok for those who are not just TikTok, but Facebook, Instagram, all social media for those 13 and under, and get parental consent for those between the ages of 13 and 17. How do y'all feel about that? Really interesting proposal. The two other main sponsors are Senators Chris Murphy, a Democrat from Connecticut, and Katie Britt, a Republican out of Alabama. They both said that their families constantly has conversations about social media. Britt said we have to take a step back and as parents say, how can we protect our children, teach them how to use this tool, to use it for good, and to be intentional in doing that. Some of the most popular social media apps, such as Facebook and Instagram, they already require that users who create accounts be at least 13 years old, while TikTok requires that users who post content be at least 13. It also offers a curated view only experience for those under age 13 that includes additional safeguards and privacy protections, according to the company. Really interesting government getting involved in this situation, but parents have to, right, it's up to the parents, it should be up to the parents to monitor their children's activity. At least most would argue that. We will see where that goes. The social media bill that's floating around is a bipartisan bill, which means that it has a pretty good chance of making its way to the president's desk for signature eventually. And speaking, even though he never played for my New York Knicks, speaking of the Knicks, Lamar Odom, the Queens native, former Lakers star, he is doing something incredible. He transformed his life, and now he's making a significant business investment to do the same for others. After facing a near fatal drug overdose, and many might remember that in 2015, they found Lamar semi-conscious at the infamous Bunny Ranch in Las Vegas. He had overdosed on several drugs, according to various reports. The NBA, the former NBA All Star, has reportedly launched Odom Wellness treatment centers in California. The investments came after Odom partnered with Dante Ralston and Dennis Martinez to purchase the centers, which are located in San Diego, El Cajon, and Lemon Grove. Lamar has struggled with addiction, well known as we stated. He's been open about his path to recovery and hopes to use his experience, he said, to help others. The facilities that he's opening will offer a range of services, including detox, residential treatment, and outpatient programs. Lamar has stated that he wants to provide a supportive and safe environment for those seeking help and that he understands the challenges of addiction firsthand. The move has been praised by many in the addiction treatment community as Odom's involvement could help to reduce the stigma surrounding addiction and encourage people or even more people to seek the help that they need. So Lamar Odom standing up and really not only acknowledging his addiction and his problems, but he's now seeking to use that to help others. And Power 96 says it's good to see that Lamar broke the Kardashian curse. There's a lot of that, huh? Power 96. He went in on the Kardashian curse this morning. But again, Lamar Odom, his father and family had fought hard to try and help keep Lamar clean. Lamar had really had a great NBA career, a potentially great NBA career that, of course, was stunted by his addiction, and now he's doing something to help others. Good for Lamar Odom. Well, now to the Ted Cruz tapes. As Ari Melba of MSNBC broke down this week on his program, it would be a mistake to not take seriously what the GOP did to overturn the 2020 election. He said they don't want you to know about it. They don't want you to take it seriously now. But the Ted Cruz tapes reveal how Ted Cruz, who had previously ranted about how Donald Trump is such a liar and couldn't accept defeat, and you remember Donald Trump had accused Ted Cruz's father of killing or being involved in the killing of President John F. Kennedy, among other things. But Cruz turned out to be one of the biggest supporters of the insurrection, right along with allegedly the former president. And we have the tape for you to listen to if you haven't heard it. Let's take a listen to what Ted Cruz said on this tape.
I think that the country deserves to have a credible assessment of these claims and what the evidence shows. And the mechanism to try to force that is denying certification on the 6th.
The voice.
Yep, the voice he's going to say, the voice you heard, of course, was Ted Cruz. This is a recorded conversation with Fox Business host Maria Bartiromo ahead of the January 6, 2021 insurrection. Cruz laid out a plan to create a, quote, inaugurated mission.
It would be the results of that commission and what they found. And if they found credible evidence of fraud that undermines confidence in the electoral results in any given state, they would report on that.
He admits it.
I like.
Did you see Ari Melba's reaction? He's like, he admits it. Yeah, this is, folks, 4 days, just 4 days before the January 6th Capitol riots that claimed the lives, or at least led to the deaths of five police officers when they stormed the Capitol. Cruz planning to overthrow or overturn the election. This is on January 2nd. This is what's startling about this. As Power 96 says, Ted Cruz is Trump's lapdog. Trump talked about his wife, and Cruz is still kissing his butt. Yeah, that's the thing that gets a lot of people too. You became such a, you capped so hard for Trump after what he did. And Cruz's own words, there are recordings, and Ari Melba of MSNBC, who we just showed, who originally played these tapes, also played video of Cruz denouncing Trump long before January 2nd, 2021, calling him a liar, a pathological liar, and calling Trump out for being a sore loser. And this is, again, prior to his loss to Biden and not knowing how to accept defeat. So it's pretty stunning to see the turnaround of individuals like Senator Ted Cruz or even a Marco Rubio down in Florida. David Youngblood says Cruz knew those were false claims and pursued those lies to create the fake commission. And that's what it was. This idea of, he says, let's not let the House of Representatives decide, because when they go to certify the election, the House of Representatives must ratify it before it becomes uh, official and before a new president can be sworn in. At the time, the vice president of the United States acts as the uh, I guess the House Speaker, if you will. I know there's another term for his job there, but he has to oversee that process. So Cruz wanted to circumvent that. He said, let's not go with the Electoral College. And this, which is interesting because a lot of people have a problem with the Electoral College. We saw that with the Hillary Clinton loss to Trump, in which the popular vote, she won clearly the popular vote, but she wasn't the only one. It goes back. Remember the Al Gore situation with George Bush. He clearly won the popular vote, meaning he had more votes than Bush. The Florida situation, of course, proved to be extremely murky. And folks, they wanted then to get rid of the Electoral College system. So here we see Ted Cruz saying, let's forget about the Electoral College, forget about the House of Representatives. Let's create this commission, and this commission decides. And guess who's going to be head of that commission? Well, I'm not going to keep you in suspense. If you haven't already guessed, it was going to be none other than Senator Ted Cruz, who continued to support Trump's lies about widespread electoral fraud, even after a violent mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol to try to disrupt the certification of the electoral votes, which confirmed that Biden had won the presidency. According to Ari Melba, the tapes show how Cruz planned to help Trump seize power and overthrow the election after all of the former president's challenges had been thrown out of court. Melba says he literally explains it that way. Basically, they would hijack the certification and use their own made up fake commission to declare that the Biden win was fraudulent, and then that would decide who was inaugurated. In the conversation with the Fox producer, or the Fox business host, I should say, Cruz said that if a majority of the House and Senate objected to the electoral certification on January 6th, then that fake commission could be created, ultimately deciding who gets inaugurated, which in that case would have been Donald Trump for a second term. And if the commission found credible evidence of fraud that undermines confidence in the electoral results in any given state, Cruz said it would be able to recertify the results, notably in a November 2020 call with the Fox host that MSNBC aired. Cruz suggested that Trump's team of lawyers lacked actual evidence of electoral fraud that would hold up in court. So understand, just 2 months earlier, Cruz himself told that same Fox business host they don't have any evidence that there was fraud. But yet, 4 days before the insurrection, Cruz decides this is how we can steal the election. On the same day of his call with the Fox host, Cruz and 10 other Senate Republicans unveiled a plan to reject the certification of results in states where Trump contested his defeat, unless a quote, emergency 10-day congressional audit was completed. So the big fix was in, at least it was, they tried to put it in, and then the insurrection happened. So all a part of this scheme to put Trump back in office. And Trump is running again. And right now, he is certainly the heavily favored GOP candidate, despite all of his legal troubles. But the question becomes, and the latest report is that Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, the special prosecutor that is looking into federal charges or potential federal charges from the insurrection and against the former president, now he wants to get a hold of these tapes. And it's really incredible that he doesn't already have these tapes, that two news entities have this tape. Now we all have the tapes, right? But MSNBC and the Washington Post, an editor at the Washington Post was able to also get these tapes as well. But the special prosecutor is now asking for the tapes. At this moment, I wish we had Attorney Tarver, because the transfer of these tapes from media to the prosecutor, that could be it sounds like it could be problematic, right? Because you're now the chain of evidence. If you remember the O.J. Simpson case, it's not a reach, folks, but the O.J. Simpson case, one of the things that happened there that allowed O.J. to and Johnny Cochran to successfully defend O.J. to win an acquittal was the fact that officers not only carried vials of blood around and took it home with them, but they were able to at least allege and put in the jury's mind that other people also handled that evidence, which tainted it. So in this case, you got media members handling what could be evidence. And of course, we know that Trump, in Donald Trump's case, one of his favorite phrases is fake news. So we will see how that plays out. Not that this is the only evidence. We know that there's the prosecutor has been, according to Benny Thompson, the chair of the January 6th committee, has given a mountain of evidence to the special prosecutor in that case. So this is just really as an aside, and it could be perilous for Ted Cruz than Donald Trump, who is already facing his share of uh, legal issues. So we'll see where it all goes. But the Ted Cruz tapes are very, very interesting. They are now widely available, so you can hear them in its completion if you are a reader or a consumer of news from the Washington Post or MSNBC. Now you know where to go to get it all. Right? These Ted Cruz tapes. But this was it in a nutshell. Once again, the tapes are available, and they really, really tell a serious tale that I'm sure, as the reports indicate, the special prosecutor would be interested in. Uh, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But as we close this morning, final score from Cleveland last night, 102-95, Knicks in 5. Me and my buddy John, we won't be going to the Garden on Friday because there's no game on Friday. We thought it might be a game 6, but there will be a game 1 of the NBA's Eastern Conference semifinals, the Knicks and the Miami Heat, starting Sunday at the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. So go New York, go New York, go, and we will see what happens. But thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.